Hi guys, I just thought I'd make a little video talking about child's pose. I did a practice the other day and I realised that sometimes child's pose just isn't very relaxing. We often use child's pose to kind of allow us to come off of our hands and give our wrists a break and our ankles and our feet a break. And just to kind of reconnect with the breath. And I just realized in that moment that actually for some, because for me during that practice I had a bit of a sore knee, and it was really unrelaxing because it was so uncomfortable. So yeah, so I just thought I'd show you a couple of options really to perhaps make child's pose a bit more accessible, a bit more relaxing for you. So I'll show you child's pose first because that's a great place to start. So we have our knees together. We have the tops of the feet on the mat. So we're sitting back onto the heels. And then what we're going to do is we're simply going to bring the chest, the belly area to the tops of the legs. So we're folding forward. Hands are going to come forward. Perhaps our hands come behind us. Perhaps we put palm on top of palm. But what we're allowing is we're allowing that kind of natural curve in the spine. We're just simply folding forward. So that's with knees together. The other option is for knees to be apart. So our feet are staying together. Our toes are together. And we simply open the knees and sit back. This requires an openness in the hips, okay? So this is the child's pose that I like, but it does require an openness in the hips. And we're going to do the same. We're simply going to melt the chest down and allow the spine to round down. But instead of bringing our chest to our thighs, we're allowing the chest to come in between the space, that space in between our legs, sorry. So we just come down. I like to reach forward. I kind of like to wriggle my belly and then allow my belly to come down. My head comes down. Forehead is on the mat. Hands are reaching forward. My hands are reaching forward, but my arms are soft. I'm not reaching, I'm soft. And we can also have palm on top of palm. Both of these options require space to come down. It requires openness in our thighs, in our groin, in our quadriceps, and it also requires space and flexibility in the lower back. So maybe your lower back is very tight, so that folding kind of forward, although we round, you do kind of come forward like this. So if the back is tight, you might find that you're kind of here. Yeah. So we have a couple of options. I'm going to just go through them for you. So the first one is a block. You should have a block, a block or a book, something that's solid and that is allows you to put weight on it and will keep you stable. So I'm going to use the block for my head. So coming down here, actually first option is you could do fist on top of fist, and maybe your head comes, your knees could be apart, your knees could be together, fist on top of fist. But or perhaps you're here, you're up here. So maybe your block is on the highest setting and you allow your head to come down. I allow everything to soften. Okay, so my arms are heavy on the ground. When I use a block, I like to kind of have my hand on the block. You can reach them forward And then maybe over time, once you've built more flexibility, more space, excuse me, maybe you come down to the next sitting. Maybe you don't, but who cares, really? I think the message is always to honour your body and where you're at. But block is great for that head, okay, because then it allows the spine to naturally just round, but it creates that little bit of space for you there. So we have a block. Next thing that we have is a blanket, and I'm going to fold my blanket quite tightly, and I'm going to put the blanket in the crease in my knee, behind my knees. Okay, so I'm really working it there, because maybe once you sit back, there becomes a tightness in the knees, like a pinching. Okay, so you could put that there. You could equally use a pillow to do the same thing if you needed a bit more space. Maybe your blanket doesn't curl up enough. You could have the blanket on top of the feet. That creates a little bit more space, so I'm not quite sitting down as low. And then we fold forward. The sitting bones are naturally going to be a little higher now because there's that extra padding there. But perhaps you still use a block. Perhaps this is where you're at in your practice, which is wonderful. So we have those options, and I'll just quickly show with a pillow. Choose a pillow like this to sit back. Oh, that's lovely, actually. You could even double up. That feels really nice. It just creates so much space there, which allows me to, I'm not, my hamstrings, I'm allowing my hamstrings to switch off, which is really nice. We also have a bolster. I have a bolster. You don't need a bolster. You could use a pillow. I would say that if you are struggling with, not struggling, but that's the wrong word, sorry. If you need to bring the ground up to you a little bit more, then a bolster is a really good investment. You can even make one yourself if you're crafty. And they don't have to be expensive, anything fancy. But so let's get to it. I'm going to open up my knees, so I'm in a wide-legged child's pose now, and the bolster I'm going to bring right into my groin. Okay, and then I'm going to fold over, and this is really good if your lower back is tight and that's what you're struggling with. The kind of the folding over part. You can even have a block on that bolster. You know, find a place for your hands. But you can now see that I am allowing my spine to curl down, but just not as far. Yeah. Also, you could even have all of your props. So I've got a pillow under my sitting bones. I've got my bolster. I've got my block. And oh, that feels so good. Yeah. So the intention of child's pose is to relax. Generally, we could have an active child's pose, but for this purposes, it's a pose for us to just pause, to reconnect with our breath, just to take a moment. Okay. And if it's just not feeling yummy for you, then I would really, really highly recommend playing around with props. There is one other option that you can take. So if all of these just don't feel right, and remember, we aren't the same every day. So perhaps one day child's pose for you is knees together and you fold right over. Perhaps on another day you feel like something really restorative and yummy and you use a bolster and some blankets and things. But the other option, excuse me, is lying on our back, bringing our knees in towards our chest, and then just give yourself a hug. And this is, it's not exactly the same as child's pose aesthetically, but if we come back to the point that all poses are about the intention. So what are you intending to do? Are you intending to reconnect with your breath? Are you intending to just take a moment to allow your wrists to relax? Have you been doing a lot of like kind of back bends where you're bending the spine, like extension? Yeah? So now you need a bit of flexion. Yeah? So if that's the intention, you've just done a wheel pose or a bridge pose and you want to do a child's pose, perhaps. So inquiry, what is your intention? And child's pose is a lovely pose, but make it your own. When you come to practice, if you see somebody and they're folded over in a yummy pancake, then allow them to have that. That's their practice. That's where they're at. That's their intention. But come back to yourself and what is it you want to do? And if you need bolsters, if you need blankets, if you need blocks, then go for it. So I encourage you, if you've got to this part of the video, which I thank you if you have, if you've carried on listening to me. I do like to go the long way around things. Yeah, my encouragement to you is practice at home with these things. Have a little look, what works for you, and then show up with those props at home or my class. And bring them, use them, make it your own, make it yummy, make it wonderful, and that is how your practice will grow. If you force yourself into positions that aren't comfortable, you're not helping with your flexibility or your strength. So it's better to bring the ground up and slowly sink than to force yourself into a position that your body is just not ready for. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful. And any questions, please just give me a message and I can break some more things down. Use Google. But yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope to see you soon. Namaste.